Is to explore the Buddha's awakening helpful? Hello and welcome to the lindayoga.com podcast. To explore the Buddha's awakening further, it is helpful to include insights from a number of highly respected Buddhist teachers. Interdependent co-arising is a deep and subtle teaching. Those who can see the nature of interdependent co-arising can see the Buddha. All teachings of Buddhism are based on interdependent co-arising. If a teaching does not align with interdependent co-arising, it is not a teaching of the Buddha. At the core of Buddhist cosmology is the belief that multiple worlds, including our own universe, are constantly being created and destroyed. The world is always changing and evolving, with new things being created and old things being destroyed. Now is the beginning of the universe, as all things are currently being created. Now is also the end of the universe, as all things are currently passing away. When someone is a practiced disciple, they see that trees, stones, and animals are not solid and durable. Instead, they see that everything is constantly changing and only exists for a short amount of time. The universe is in a state of constant change. The Buddhist scholar and former monk Stephen Batchelor, 2010, writes that the Buddha gave the following description of his foundational insight. Heraclitus believed that the universe was in a state of constant change, and that it was impossible to step into the same river twice. Gautama's perspective shift was a realization that everything is constantly changing, and that there is no fixed truth. He realized that conditioned arising is the truth, and that everything is connected. Experienced teachers say that the Buddha's awakening was not simply an immersion in a formless realm where nothing is arising, as is often thought. Instead, they believe that the full depth and meaning of the Buddha's awakening is still being discovered, more than 2,000 years after his death. The Buddha himself said that this insight is deep, hard to see, difficult to awaken to, quiet and excellent, not confined by thought, subtle, sensed by the wise. To be interdependent is to be mutually and conditionally supportive, like two sides of a coin or two siblings sharing the same DNA. To co-arise is to come to be together, or to develop concurrently, like the sprouts of a new plant or the acquisition of new skills. It is helpful to think of the words interdependent and co-arising separately, even though they are one expression with a single meaning. To be interdependent is to be mutually and conditionally supportive, like two sides of a coin or two siblings sharing the same DNA. To co-arise is to come to be together, or to develop concurrently, like the sprouts of a new plant or the acquisition of new skills. With this caveat, let us consider each word individually. Everything that exists is intertwined with everything else. The universe is one big system where everything affects each other. The universe is constantly being created and everything is emerging as a unified whole. In other words, reality is both what happens to us as a result of our past actions, and what happens to us in the present moment as a result of everything else that is happening. The Buddha realized that everything is constantly changing, and that there is no solid reality. He taught that our failure to see this causes us to have an inaccurate and dissatisfying view of life. For example, if we assume that the universe changes at a pace of 100 frames per second, and our perception works at a pace of 25 frames per second, then the universe will seem to us like a solid whole that endures over time, rather than something that is constantly flashing into existence. We can lose ourselves in the cosmic movie theater if we're not paying attention. If we focus our perception more carefully, we can see that everything is happening at the same time, and there's no separation between us and the universe. We can experience wisdom and compassion when we understand that everything is connected. Appreciating that the universe is constantly changing can help us understand spiritual insights such as impermanence. When we see the world around us as solid and enduring, we are not seeing how it is always changing. If we think the world is solid and permanent, we may try to hold on to things. But this goes against the true nature of existence, which can cause feelings of dissatisfaction and disconnection. This creative energy or Shakti is always pouring forth and pervading all that exists, registering all events and changes, and projecting into existence an endless succession of fresh forms. According to the author, the concepts of impermanence and emptiness are difficult to understand from a traditional point of view, but they become much simpler when considered from the perspective of the universe as a whole. Existence is constantly changing and growing, with no permanent state. Every moment, everything disappears and is reborn anew. This creative energy is always present, registering all events and changes and creating new forms. Read the full article, Awakening Through the Teachings of the Buddha, on www.lindyyoga.com. Just click the link below the video.